My wife loves decorating for Halloween at the beginning of September. If it's October 1, she's really celebrating the entire time. And I think that certain times of the year are really like that. They're very meaningful for people. And for me, this is one of those periods that I think a lot of people undervalue. From Ash Wednesday to Good Friday, there is a whole sense of lament and grief and pause. And it feels like that would be something you want to shy away from. But growing up in more of an evangelical church where all you really seemed to hear was just the good news, the good news, good news, everything's great, everything's positive. It's hard sometimes to acknowledge the difficulty. And when I went to seminary, I started to encounter some really great colleagues and friends and authors and professors that opened up a whole different world, particularly in the Psalm of Laments. There's a number of them, but this one in particular, I feel really draws in the idea of what it means to feel hopeless and helpless, of the psalmist writing and crying out that everything in their life seemingly has gone bad and wrong, and that inner sense of just darkness and depression that they're feeling, and that it feels like God is being drawn down into that hole. I was out earlier today, just trying to get different shots for Easter weekend. I was on the side of a road, and there was, a beautiful hill view from about a couple miles from my house, and I was out there, I was pulled inside the road, and I was trying to get an angle shot, and this county sheriff pulls up, and he was like, hey, he saw me struggling with the phone to try and get the camera angle right, and he said, I can hold that for you. He came out, and we were just talking, and he shared some different spots in the area that would be very meaningful and useful, and then we shook hands, and then I got in my car, and he offered me some hand sanitizer, and I said, oh, I have some, and then he drove off, and I didn't even think about it until later. Hours later, really, I was sitting and I was telling Lisa about that encounter, and she went, you shook somebody's hand? And it just dawned on me that things seemingly are different, and it's okay to grieve the things that we're losing. It's okay to grieve the things in life that you lose. That every day is not about resurrection and greatness, and there is time for that. And it's wonderful to be able to celebrate that, but I always feel like when we run past this day, when we run past Good Friday and the significance of everything that it is and it means, that we lose a little bit of the story. That some people feel like maybe they're not a part of the story because their life isn't resurrection and triumph and roses, and there's things that have gone on in their life that have caused a great amount of grief and pain because they've lost things. I think we all are starting to understand a little bit what it means to lose things as a society, as a community, and we try to make do in the midst of that as best as we can. But I love this day. I love this time of year. It's a reminder that you're not alone in your struggles, that you're not alone in your laments, that these statements and feelings have been uttered thousands and thousands, millions of times before over thousands of years by different voices that understand the grief and the pain that comes from loss.
My God, oh why have you forsaken me? And why are you so far from saving me? cry out by day, you do not answer. I cry out by night, you're not silent. Oh, be not far from me. Be not far from me. My God, oh why have you forsaken me? And why are you so far from saving me? I cry out by day, you do not answer. Cry out by night, and am not silent. Oh, be not far from me. Be not far from me. Be not far from me. Oh, be not far from me. Poured out like water, my bones out of joint. My heart turned to wax and melted within me. My strength is dried up, cracked piece of clay. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth as you lay me down. As you lay me down in the dust of my death.
One of the more meaningful times in our service is when we come to the baptismal font and we pour out the waters of our baptism. It's a beautiful reminder for me of how we're able to take the things in life that cause us bitterness, resentment, or anger, and watch those things washed away. We believe that by being forgiven, we are called to forgive others, and in so doing, we work in the cleansing of the world. I'd like to invite you at this time, if you have a pitcher of water and a bowl, to participate in this meditative act with us of just pouring the water over your hands. If you're with somebody else, I invite you to have them pour the water over your hands and vice versa. And as we partake in this, contemplate on what it really means to be forgiven, on what it means to forgive others, and the cleanliness that we feel in the moments when those things which have bogged us down are finally removed.